Simba Moya was born on 15th July 1985 in a poor area of Harare, Zimbabwe. His family struggled a lot. His father, Rangan Moya, was a mechanic, and his mother, Suzanne, worked in people's homes. Simba also had a younger brother named Joshua Moya, who was 2 years younger than him. Simba and Joshua always stood by each other, no matter how difficult life became. Simba was smart and fearless since childhood, but his rebellious nature was pulling him toward the wrong path. Joshua was a calm and focused boy who always tried to do well in studies and dreamed of becoming a lawyer. Simba, on the other hand, spent most of his time with street gangs and started doing small thefts too. By the age of 15, Simba had already become a shooter for a gang. He was involved in smuggling and small criminal activities, and because of his fearless attitude, he was becoming quite famous in the local gangs. But Simba always made sure that his brother Joshua never got involved in any wrong work. In 2003, Simba committed his first major crime. He attempted to rob a diamond trader in Harare. After this job, Simba earned a good amount of money, and he decided that now he would make a name for himself in the criminal world. Simba was intelligent, and soon he became a leader among gangsters. By 2006, Simba had formed his own gang called Mubarik Kings. This gang was skilled in smuggling, extortion, and robbery. Simba expanded his work into the diamond-rich region of Livingston and entered the illegal diamond trade. Through his contacts and charisma, Simba built alliances with corrupt officials and border agents, making his operations even smoother. During this time, Joshua completed his law degree in 2007. Joshua often tried to explain to Simba that if he kept going down this wrong path, the consequences would one day be very bad. But Simba was addicted to money and power. Simba often told his brother, "Even if something happens to me tomorrow, I trust you enough that you will take care of our parents." By 2011, Simba's fear and influence were at their peak. But one day, everything changed. Simba had a partner named Joseph, who had strong control inside the gang. The two of them worked together in diamond trading and transported diamonds out of Zimbabwe. Joseph was one of Simba's most trusted men. Simba had given Joseph control of the alcohol dens, gambling operations, and diamond export work. But the two of them often fought over percentages. Joseph felt that he did all the hard work, yet Simba took 50% of the money earned from illegal work. Tired of this, Joseph finally gave information to the police about Simba. One night, the police raided Simba's house. During the raid, Simba was arrested. The police recovered several illegal diamonds and weapons from his house. Simba tried to use his network to escape the charges, but the evidence was too strong. Joshua, who had now become a successful lawyer, took Simba's case and fought it in court. But because of the solid evidence found against Simba, the case became weak. On 15 September 2012, Simba was sentenced to 25 years in prison and was sent to Grey Street Prison, a high-security prison in Zimbabwe. This was not just a prison, it was a survival camp. The prisoners here were some of Zimbabwe's most dangerous criminals: murderers, smugglers, and hardcore gangsters. For Simba, surviving here wasn't just a physical struggle, it was a mental and emotional battle too. Simba's first day in prison were terrifying. The rules in the prison were clear. If you looked weak, your life would become miserable. Simba understood one thing on the very first day: there was only one way to survive here: either fight or become part of a strong gang. Simba was kept in a cramped cell that had 10 prisoners, even though the cell had space only for 4 people. A small wooden bench and a broken mattress were his bed. On the first day itself, Simba's cellmates welcomed him with a slap, because they had heard that Simba was a big-shot gangster. In prison, proving dominance was necessary, otherwise people would crush you easily. Simba somehow controlled himself and showed that he wasn't someone who would get scared. This was the condition among the prisoners, but if we talk about the food in this prison, that too was nothing less than punishment. Every morning Simba was given thin, watery lentils for breakfast, which were neither tasty nor filling. In lunch and dinner, they were given cornmeal bread, and the vegetables served with it were often raw or spoiled. Getting clean water was very difficult. Prisoners often drank rainwater or dirty water from old tap lines just to survive. The guards in the prison created even worse problems. The guards used to beat prisoners regularly. They didn't treat them like humans, but like animals. Simba was treated the same way. The job of the guards was simply to break the prisoners physically and mentally. There were random searches twice a day in Simba's room. During these searches, the guards even tore apart the prisoners' mattresses and broke their belongings. And if anything illegal was found, prisoners were beaten badly. Once, Simba even tried to protest, but the guards replied with belts and kicks. Gangs also ruled inside Grey Street Prison, and for someone like Simba, a known gangster, surviving here was even more challenging. Every gang wanted to recruit him, but Simba didn't want to become anyone's puppet. There was a strong gang leader in this prison named Big Jabulani. He had always been against Simba because Simba had broken one of his old deals outside the prison. One day, Big Jabulani's men attacked Simba in the bathroom. Simba received 3 knife cuts, but with his strength and determination, he fought all 3 of them. After this fight, the police officers punished Simba and threw him into the isolation room. Simba was kept for 10 days in a dark, windowless cell that had only a bucket and a mat. These days were the toughest for Simba, but he made a promise to himself. I will escape from here and take my revenge. Meanwhile, Simba's brother Joshua, no matter how angry he was with Simba, always came to meet him. Joshua became a messenger for Simba, staying connected to Simba's criminal network outside the prison. For a long time, Simba communicated his work through Joshua. Around 2015, Simba learned that his younger brother was now going after Joseph and wanted to get him punished. Joseph was the same person who had sent Simba to prison. But after hearing this, Simba was terrified, because he knew his younger brother was a decent man, whereas Joseph had become a powerful gangster. Simba wanted to explain to his brother that he shouldn't get involved in these dangerous things and should mind his own work. But in the fire of revenge, Joshua had changed. To take revenge for his elder brother, he started interfering in Joseph's operations. Joshua had a good reputation with the police, so he began trapping Joseph in different cases. One day, fed up with Joshua, Joseph got him attacked. The attack happened in front of everyone, outside the court. On the spot, Simba's younger brother was killed. When Simba heard this news, it felt like the ground slipped away beneath his feet. Sitting inside his cell, he started shaking. He screamed so loudly that it felt like even the prison walls would crack. But he somehow controlled himself and immediately applied for parole. He said that no matter what, he needed to attend his younger brother's funeral. The police and guards thought about it for a while and finally gave Simba permission to attend. For the first time, Simba came out on parole. At the graveyard, thousands of people had gathered. More people came to see Simba than came to see his younger brother. People were pushing and shoving the police, trying to get close to Simba. During this crowd chaos, Simba noticed that an old member of his gang was signaling toward his shoes, as if he was trying to pass Simba a message. Immediately, Simba removed his shoes and exchanged them with that gang member's shoes. When Simba returned to prison, he found a letter hidden inside the shoe, written in the form of a puzzle. Simba sat inside his cell, and silently, Simba began joining the puzzle pieces together. As he assembled it, he started reading it. It said that their gang had completely broken apart, and now he must escape from the prison no matter what. They wrote that they would help him. They would come with a helicopter to the top floor of the prison, and Simba had to reach the top floor by any means necessary. There were many details written in the letter, but Simba couldn't decode what date they had written. He couldn't understand on which date they would come to free him. Simba tried very hard, but he still couldn't figure out the date. He did understand one thing. They promised to come at 1 a.m. at night. but he still didn't know the date they mentioned. So Simba thought, forget it. I should first try to reach the top floor of the prison. Simba made a plan to use the ventilation duct, which was connected all the way to the rooftop. For 1 month, he observed the guards' patrol schedules and the layout of the duct. He also stole some important items from the kitchen, like a thin spoon and an iron rod. He also stole his bedsheet, which he turned into a rope. With that rope, he would hang and climb up toward the top floor. Now he only needed to figure out on which date his people would come to rescue him. He thought a lot, and finally chose the date of December 5th. On the night of December 5th, it was raining heavily. After 10 p.m., when all the prisoners had eaten and gone to sleep, Simba told the inmates in his cell something. He said, "If you start riots tonight, I will give each one of you 1 million USD. The prisoners immediately agreed, and around 12 a.m. they started making noise and began the riots. Seeing them, the rest of the prisoners also started rioting. Seeing this, the guards became extremely angry. They dragged all the prisoners out of their cells into the yard, lined them up, and started beating them and giving punishments. Taking advantage of this moment, Simba began moving through the ventilation duct toward the top floor. Managing the hot and narrow path of the duct, he crawled through it. Within just 20 minutes, he opened the access panel and reached the top floor. There, a helicopter was already waiting for him. Simba sat inside the helicopter with his friends and escaped. On the way, Simba told his friends that he couldn't guess the date they were coming to save him. Then they asked, "So, how did you know that today, December 5th, was the day we would come?" Simba replied, "I knew because today is my younger brother's birthday, and this is the only date you all would choose to free me from here." Simba and his friends were celebrating their victory when suddenly they noticed a fighter jet behind them. They immediately understood that the police had found out that Simba had escaped, and that was why the police had sent a fighter jet after them. Now the chase began. Simba's friends turned the helicopter toward a dense forest and landed it there. The fighter jet and police vehicles on the road were also chasing the helicopter. In the prison, sirens were blaring, and all prisoners were forced back into their cells. The police reached the forest where Simba and his friends were hiding. To escape the police's eyes, Simba and his friends started the helicopter again and used the iron rod to jam the steering wheel. The helicopter began flying on its own. Seeing this, the police thought Simba and his friends were flying away again, so they started chasing the helicopter once more. But the helicopter soon hit a tree and exploded. What happened to Simba and his friends after this? No one knows. Did Simba take revenge for his brother's death, or did the police catch him again and put him in another high-security prison? Zimbabwe's government has kept this truth hidden from the public even today. So this is where Simba's entire story ends. If you liked this video, then make sure to like it, comment on it, and share it with your friends.